Good morning. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow our heads for a quick prayer. Heavenly Father, we beseech your divine guidance in this meeting. Keep us ever mindful of our obligation. Grant us, dear Lord, wisdom, tolerance, and courage that we may well serve our county and fulfill our trust. Amen.
Amen.
Minutes.
Yes, like to make a motion to approve the minutes of January 28th.
I will second that. Any discussion? Roll call.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes. Next, public comment regarding pending resolutions. Is there any public comment this morning? No? Moving on, resolutions. We have Dan Becker from the engineer's office. Morning, Dan.
Morning.
Morning.
Three resolutions for your consideration today. The first is accepting and awarding the bid for the 2025 replacement of Bridge Number 3 on Wall Road, Wadsworth Township. The next is accepting and awarding the bid for the 2025 Medina County Highway Department bituminous plant bid. The third is accepting and awarding the 2025 Medina County aggregate bid. And then our weekly permits.
Yeah, move to approve the three resolutions.
I will second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Have a good week.
Thanks,
Very
Dan.
good, thank you.
Next up, Jeremy Cinco, sanitary engineer.
Morning, everyone.
Good
Morning.
Four resolutions for consideration today. The first is authorizing the sanitary engineer to enter into contract with Crown Commercial Construction to renovate the billing department office. The second is authorizing the sanitary engineer to replace the HVAC system at the Liverpool wastewater treatment plant through Equalis Group competitive bidding. The third is authorizing the sanitary engineer to purchase a Caterpillar excavator for the line maintenance division. And the final is amending the purchase price of a single axle cab and chassis and dump truck body through state purchasing. Just for information, that truck was ordered in 2022, so we're just getting it now.
The price has changed since
A
then.
little bit.
Okay. Move to approve the four resolutions.
Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thanks.
Very
Thanks,
good,
Jeremy.
thank you.
Next up, we have Holly from HR. Hi, Holly.
Good morning.
Good
We have
morning.
two resolutions today. On our personnel changes resolution, we have three rate increases, one in maintenance, one in sanitary, and one at Job and Family Services, one position change in maintenance, one family medical leave of absence at County Home, two return from leaves at Job and Family Services, two resignations, one at Senior and Adult Services and one at County Home. And the second resolution is authorizing an employee assistant program agreement extension with All One Health.
Move to approve the two resolutions.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Next up, Brett from Finance. Howdy, Brett.
Good morning, Commissioners. I only have four for you this week, and they're all pretty short. Our first one is transfer of inventory between offices. We've got a couple computers that are moving back home to IT. Our second resolution is excess property. We have a large chunk that is for disposal, and then we have a few items that are going on to govdeals.com if anybody is terribly interested. Our third resolution is expenses of county officials. Most of these are actually the sheriff prepping for their conferences, their necessary conferences for the course of early 2025. So you'll see that we have a CSI and forensic investigation in Pennsylvania, as well as the American Jail Association conference in Fort Worth, Texas. Our fourth and final resolution for the week is our weekly bills in the amount of $704,618.61.
Move to approve the four resolutions.
Second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes. Thanks,
Thank
Brett.
you,
Good,
Commissioner.
thank you.
Matt Springer, County Administrator. Morning, Matt.
Good morning.
I have two resolutions for your consideration. The first one is declaring motor vehicle as excess property. This is amending a prior resolution for the sheriff's office. They're going to exchange the particular vehicle that they're going to return back to Enterprise as part of their fleet management for 2025. And then the second resolution is authorizing the lease of fleet tracking devices. This is with Geotab USA. This would be deployed for the maintenance department for 15 different units for a 36-month period.
Move to approve the 2 resolutions.
Second, discussion? Roll call, please.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Next, move into department updates. We're going to start with Laura this morning. Laura, good morning. Are things warm again at the McSass office?
We're toasty.
Good.
We're good.
That's good. Good to hear. Appreciate your efforts to kind of roll with the punches on that one too. So.
Hey. No big deal.
Thanks.
I'll start with some summary numbers to review. In 2024, we delivered 47,111 meals, except for 2020 when we were shut down and we had 10 drivers driving and a lot of extra meals. We delivered 67,000. I mean, that was just huge. Except for that, if you take that out, that's the most meal deliveries we've had in a regular grant-funded year since I've been here, and I've venture to guess since we've been doing this. We provided 8,189 congregate meals. That includes the Wadsworth Restaurant Voucher Program. So that's meals provided in Brunswick on Wednesday and Friday, and in Medina on Tuesday and Thursday, and then the Wadsworth Voucher Program. And that total again was 8,189. The next couple of pages are transit numbers. 2024, we provided 15,901 subsidized transit rides at a cost to senior adult services of $196,906.71. There's also a cost to transit for those rides, which was $145,488.78. And those numbers are based on Shannon's provided cost per mile by the department. We also pay for canceled rides per our contract. In 2024, we paid for 545 rides that were canceled by the consumer. So that's something we really keep an eye on, make sure that it's not, one person that's canceling several rides or anything like that. I mean, people occasionally have to cancel rides, but we try and keep that at a minimum. And actually, when I looked at that this morning, I thought, 545 is kind of a lot. Maybe we need to keep a closer watch on that.
Now, some of those could be due to weather.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's various reasons.
Right.
But typically when we go through, I know we have 2 identified right now that seem to be regularly canceling, and we'll contact them and say, hey, just so you know, we don't like that.
What is the reimbursement rate set for those canceled rides? Is it a flat?
It's the same. No,
It's based on the trip.
It's based on the trip mileage that
Got
they. So you're paying for it whether
The full
they ride
trip.
or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that has to do with their scheduling of the ride.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite a bit of money, and each ride's different. So I can't say it was this amount of money,
Yeah.
I probably could, but that would be a lot to
No,
research.
and I'm not. But that's in those numbers. That's in the total cost number.
Correct. It is in the total cost number. The last page is unduplicated clients for our grant-funded services. And you can see that, let me see too. I'm sorry, I got to get that page. So we provided transit to 344 unique clients, home delivered meals to 362 clients, and then congregate meal services to 228 clients. What I like most about this chart is you can see that except for the small portion of Creston Village and Rittman within Medina County, we touched with some program every area, township, municipality, village of the county. Which is a really good thing. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but at the end of the year, I really like to look at this and see, okay, at least, there were 4 people in Chippewa Lake that utilized transit. That's great. Can we make it more, in the future? Or if you look at some place like Spencer, I do the township and village together, but there were 9 people that we home delivered meals to. So that's really great for a place that is a little more sparse in their population. So I wanted to show you that. And finally, Adult Protective Services, we received 504 referrals, and we opened 184 of those cases. About 37% of calls were opened in Adult Protective Services. 184 cases, and we have 2.5 full-time positions. We have 3 full-time people, but one of our workers is a working supervisor, so she has administrative stuff. She carries about a half caseload. Next month, I'll go over the summaries for our ADRC, our Aging and Disability Resource Center, and other programs. I did keep our old logo on this since it was our logo when we attained these numbers. I didn't know if I should switch it or not, but I was aware of it. Matt Springer, Stephen Bastian, and I had the initial meeting with Envelope Consulting for the renovations of the senior center bathrooms in Medina. We're currently reviewing their proposal, and I think that we're all on the same page with the scope of work and the money available. So I felt good about reading that. We might make one little correction on the amount, but other than that, I think it's a so far so good situation. After a long discussions and meeting with Shannon Ryan and Matt, the decision was made to remove the dedicated bus stop from the front of the Human Service Center. The structure was removed last week. The problems identified were inconsistency of its use of that bus stop. So some people would go out there and get picked up. Other times, the bus drivers would pull right to the front door. They would pull past people who are waiting, who then came down to complain. Why did this person get preferential treatment? So there were just, and that wasn't necessarily the case. There were just a variety of issues surrounding that, and this was ongoing for a long time, well over a year. So we decided to take it down, and also we discovered that it was the only dedicated bus stop in the whole county. So I think people just aren't used to how they are utilized, or what the expectations are. So we were done fighting that fight and just decided to bring it down at this time. So I know Shannon's probably going to work on other places where I know he has 2 bus stops where they might be useful. As part of our increased security, we are putting staff through verbal de-escalation training. So I reached out, and 2 sheriff's deputies are able to provide that training. And then Ed Zachary is going to offer his community room for that to take place. That will be on February 26th or 27th. We're going to offer it twice. So I have invited other county agencies, and I will continue to try and fill up those spots. There's about 20 on the Wednesday, and then I only have about 10 on the Thursday, so we're going to try and get those filled. Tax appointments that Senior Adult Services scheduled are now closed. The 230 appointments were filled in 1.5 work days, so in 12 hours they were gone. People can still contact our office if they're having trouble finding tax help, and we'll do our best to help them out. We have some programs. I know some workers who even, walk through helping them get an appointment over the internet and things like that for United Way. Community Action has some appointments, and then Tri-C in Brunswick is also doing some appointments. Upcoming events, we have a bee and honey program in Brunswick on Friday, this Friday, the 7th. A midwinter warm-up party is scheduled for Monday the 10th. Our Valentine's party is Friday the 14th, and it's featuring Hayden Grove, who is really popular with the seniors. He's young, but he's like a crooner, and he's also going to be on The Voice, so that's really exciting. And we also have a tea party on February 27th in Brunswick. And I just wanted to remind everyone that tonight is the fundraiser for the Friends of the Medina County Home at Western Reserve Masonic. It's called Purses with a Purpose.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks for
All right.
all of the updates. Next, Denise Testa from Planning. Morning, Denise.
Okay, so we have our February Planning Commission meeting this week. And just as a friendly reminder, it's at the Montville Township Administration Building at 6665 Wadsworth Road, beginning at 6:30. We are reviewing a replat in Montville, as well as a variance and preliminary plan also in Montville, as well as a Harrisville Township text amendment. For March, we have one agenda item, and that is a final plat in Granger Township. So our deadline for submission was yesterday. I have been in contact regarding the cost of services study with Ohio State University Extension to submit a proposal to potentially assist us with that initiative. In addition to that, I'm continuing to work on the environmental reviews for this year's CDBG projects that we're planning on implementing. Those are due on Saturday, February 15th. We also are in the process of renewing our state historic preservation of Ohio programmatic agreement. So they have extended that through to March 1st. So I'm in the process of submitting paperwork to renew that. And as the Board of Commissioners, you will see that agreement coming through across your desks as well. We also have released the Program Year 25 CHIP, the Community Housing Improvement and Preservation Program, request for qualifications and proposals. So we are waiting on those. Those are due on February 10th at 4 p.m. And then I'm also working with Wadsworth, Brunswick, and Medina City to just kind of create an understanding or a partnership agreement, agreeing to submit the application as a partnership or as a consortium. The Ohio Township Association conference was last week. There were a very good conference. One of the main subjects was solar energy, as we have some of our western counties working with hundreds of acres of proposals for solar farms. Another primary topic was House Bill 315 and some of the changes that have come through, giving townships and prosecutors more leeway with enforcing zoning violations and implementing fines, as well as allowing townships to post public notices on their websites and on social media in lieu of the newspaper. So there was a lot of clapping regarding that. So are there any questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, Commissioners' resolutions. We don't have any resolutions, but we do have a notice of liquor permit filing. Just to read for the record, the Commissioners received notice of liquor permit transfer request from L2C Services LLC, DBA Board and Brush Creative Studio, located at 3725 Medina Road, Unit 117, Medina Township, to Gava Enterprises LLC at the same address for a D1 permit class. No hearing, and this notice is being provided for the record. That's it for Commissioners' resolutions. Public comment. Anything, Stan? No? Good to see you. Welcome back. Discussion session. Jeremy, did you have something? Or do we want to do Stephen first? Yeah, let's do Jeremy. I was going to say whichever one's more expensive, but I assume it's yours. So
That might be true here, though. So I just wanted to update you on our State Route 18 sewer project. We're getting close to the point of getting ready to advertise. We're looking to break this up into maybe 3 different contracts in A, B, and C. We're hoping to maybe start advertising either late spring, early summer. But one of the items that had popped up on the sewer design on 18 was the thought of upsizing. We already have the sewers designed for about 66% capacity, and that is peak flow. So so we were talking with our engineer, and they proposed, is there any thought of wanting to upsize that sewer one more size with the intent of never having to go through a project like this again in the future? So we started crunching some numbers here, and it looks like over the course of 20-year loan, you're looking at about $196,000 annually potential on the loan. We're thinking about an extra $3 million to upsize the sewers. Again, this is with the intent. We don't know all of the commercial build out that's going to happen between 71 and Medina Line Road. This would just ensure that the sewer system will never have to be touched, hopefully, in the future, at least as far as capacity goes. So just wanted to bring this to your attention. Kind of talked it over with Commissioner Hambley. The thought was to move forward, but just wanted to at least...
What was the what was the project cost without the upsize?
30 million.
Yeah,
And
so
about
you're-
33 now.
So you're talking about a 10%
That is correct.
increase for almost not doubling the capacity. Is it doubling?
We're going to go from about a third pipe at, we'll say 36 inch to like a 42 inch pipe or 48 inch pipe at half flow.
Yeah.
So there'll be substantial capacity
like-
available.
Pretty good ROI. And then I guess
Well, it really is about development, future development costs and opportunities along that corridor. There are a lot of commercial properties still not yet developed.
Yep.
Along there, and I think, I mean, you can do it right the first time. I mean, have that capacity. That makes sense for the future. And we know that those original sewers were over like in the 90s. So it's, now, if we have to replace it, let's go ahead and make sure we've got an upsize.
and we're building in our exclusive right of way, right? We don't overlap onto ODOT's right of way there or anything.
No, it's within the right of way.
Right, they've already expanded along that corridor.
That's true. They don't
More
really have
once.
any plans to.
No, that's,
Yeah, that would be the only other thing, though, right? If they were to expand or encroach into our.
I'm not sure that they could increase it anymore. Right now, it's
Yeah.
5 lane. It's 5 lane. I mean,
Yeah.
the expansion's already been done.
Correct.
Yep.
In fact, we participated in the 90s with those expansions, and we actually, the county put money into it to assist them in the purchase of those right-of-ways.
Yeah.
In order to get that project through, so.
And that's when the water and sewer actually got installed.
Yeah, yeah.
Was
Right.
prior to that project.
And it would still work in concurrence with the local zoning, with Sharon Township and Granger Township's overall development plans.
No, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because currently, right now, there's a usage restriction based, they get a gallon per linear foot to not overwhelm the current capacity. Essentially, that would eliminate that need.
That limit,
Yep.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, perfect.
Nope. Makes
Sounds great.
sense.
Thank you.
Yep. Oh, we have. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
With the capacity you're talking about, what is the depth of service to the north and south from the road right-of-way that this would service? And would it ultimately handle Granger Lake? I know they've been looking for years and years for ways to tap, sewer and water.
Granger Lakes, I think, they're more looking for water, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
Yeah, I used to live there, so I.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're basically putting, because of the existing sewer system, we're putting it essentially in the same location as as far as
Right.
serviceability goes.
I think they're at a lower elevation though.
And they're quite a bit of ways off of.
Quite a bit ways off, so it says if we do gravity, that won't service that area, but there are other areas that could potentially along that corridor expand the service. Then also depending on what the commercial or industrial use would be as well. I mean. you
I don't
got
think
somebody with
topography
yeah.
would allow for service to Granger Lakes.
Right, yeah,
Due to elevations.
would.
It would not.
Would not.
would not for the sewers.
But the water is still a potential.
Sure. I mean, there is potential for extension over there, yeah.
Yeah.
But the primary objective of that 18 expansion is that commercial
The
corridor.
commercial corridor,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct, and as you talked about, we had some limits on it, in which case that'll eliminate that. And
Correct.
actually afford greater development opportunities along that corridor.
That is correct.
And
Okay.
is that depth 500 feet or 1,000 feet on either side?
The,
Or does it just match the zoning?
the current allocation for gallons per footage was based on a 500-foot north or south on 18 to feed that corridor.
That was based on that, as you were around when they were doing the corridor study, that's right, was a planning commission. Bruce Freeman led the effort, and I know that the commissioners, and that was an assessment project along that whole Route 18 corridor, one of the county's biggest ones for that. So at this point, there's no assessment project for that expansion. We're paying for it, and it makes sense to expand the capacity.
Great.
Correct.
Yep.
Thanks, Jeremy.
All right, thanks.
And there's Stan needing a sea legs. You got him back pretty quick.
All right.
Yep. Yeah. And then Stephen, did you have an update for us about the elevator situation in the administration building?
Sure. So, as you know, the elevator's down. There was a leveling valve that has gone out on our elevator. It's a very old elevator. Kone has found the replacement. It is not through their normal circumstances, but they have found one. It sounds like we're on either the books for, I'm supposed to find out today. I've got my phone waiting for that response now. Either this weekend or the weekend following is kind of the hope. We are paying for weekend work as it is to get it taken care of as soon as we possibly can. But the part wasn't available through their normal means. They found one this last week. They were supposed to have had it overnighted to their shop, and now we're just waiting on their actual labor to be able to do the work.
And is there any update on the timeline? Maybe Matt and I could talk about. We've talked about this before too, but for the replacement project for that, or is that still on the summer?
The modification is going to happen. The soonest it can happen is April 11th, I think, is the date of their potential shipment from their factories. Our elevator modification is actually a custom, so all elevators custom built for the spot. They have 3 different places that modify or manufacture the elevator. So the April 11th date is the date that they're supposed to have all of the parts at their warehouse capable of being shipped to our location. So
Gotcha.
that's as soon as it can actually happen would be the April 11th ship date. So it'll go back down in April, May timeframe for that 6-week
Yep.
timeframe. We could not move it forward. We did ask just
Yeah.
to have it left down and then just bring the modification on board. They do not have the parts and
Right.
pieces for it yet.
That makes sense. That's how these things tend to go, right?
It is.
Okay. Any other
Anything
questions?
else?
Yep. Thanks for the update. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
So we'll continue to work and with the other offices in the building to try and accommodate folks who can't get upstairs. I've seen the signs and things going up that for, tax payments, dog licenses, those kinds of things, we're trying to add some flexibility. So, any other discussion? Denise? Matt? No? Steve, anything?
No, I don't have anything.
I'll just mention we did have the EMA advisory group meeting last week. I thought that went well. So it was this. I've been calling it the second consecutive advisory group meeting we've had as part of the EMA. Townships were well represented in spite of the fact that it was, as Denise mentioned, township conference week. So we did have a quorum, and I thought the meeting went well. We've confirmed the date for next year will be it'll be the equivalent Wednesday, the last Wednesday of January, and that is not the township conference date, which got moved back to February, I think, for next year. So we should be avoiding those conflicts, and we'll get that publicized for the third consecutive advisory group meeting in 2026. So with that, I guess I'll entertain a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second, roll call.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you.